So I got a call the other day from one of my subscribers, and the caller said, I'm a 58-year-old white guy. Are there any federal contracts for me? And then on another note, I get calls from people that says, I'm a veteran. What contracts do they have for me? And so, when I hear these calls from people, it baffles my mind, is because the government doesn't actually give anybody contracts. That's the first thing. The government does not give anyone contracts. We have to go after these contracts. We have to go after these opportunities. We have to put ourselves in a position to be able to win contracts, to be able to perform the contracts. So when people come to me and they say, what contracts are available for me, or what do they have, like that doesn't make any sense. All the contracts are available for you. All right. I mean, my answer is rhetorical, because why? What types of contracts do you want? The other thing is, right, and hearing that people are always focused on this particular piece of the pie, right? So in my mind, regardless of if you're coming at from the standpoint of you don't qualify for a small business certification, or if you're coming from the standpoint that you do qualify for a small business certification or socioeconomic set aside, then either way, both people think that they are either owed something or excluded from something. And neither is the case, right? These opportunities are available for all people, right? The government does not give out contracts because you are a woman, because you're an 8A, or because you're a veteran. They don't do that. They do give out contracts if you are qualified, if you demonstrate past performance, if you demonstrate the ability to be able to deliver, if you are in the particular space in which they're spending money today or tomorrow, if it's nuclear, if it's aerospace, if it's materials, if it's dynamics. Yeah, if you're in that space, like now, if you do COVID testing and they're throwing money at COVID testing and you are special COVID testing, then yeah, they will do business with you. But because you are a certain age or a certain classification or a certain size or a certain this or certain that, they don't just give out contracts to anyone, including myself. Okay, I have to go out and earn every contract that I get. Now, why are so many people infatuated with small business certificates? Okay, there's a couple things here to this pie that I think that many of us know and many of us don't know. One is, this is actually not a factual representation of the amount of contracts that get awarded to small businesses or to large businesses for that matter. So this pie is not even actually the factual representation of what we are getting. Why? What happens is the 23%, right, that they label for small businesses excludes contracts that they believe, right, small businesses are ineligible for. So what does that mean? If there are contracts that they deem that there are no small businesses that are qualified and capable for, they take those out of this particular 100%. Right? So let's say we look at this 100%, right? 67, 23, okay, it makes 100. But that 100% does not represent the whole pie. So this 100% actually represents more like 80% of all the opportunities. So there's another 20% over here that the big boys are playing in. So if you look at large business, right? If we do the math, 80 times 23, you can figure out, I don't know, it's about 16%. If you do this, add this up, 16 minus 100, right? What is that? So really, something like 84% of the contracts are going to large businesses. Now, what does that mean? So if you are that 58-year-old white guy and you're wondering if there's any opportunity for you, yeah. If you don't qualify into the 16% of the pool, there's 84% of the contracts are available to you out there. 84%. I mean, like, people assume because they're not a woman, because they're not an 8A, because they're not a veteran, that there's no contracts. What about all this? What about the 84% of the opportunities? That doesn't count for anything? Oh, but Eric, those are going to the large guys. Those are going to everyone who meets the criteria. They say large businesses, but this doesn't necessarily represent large businesses. We wrote that on it because we're distinguishing between large and small, but really this distinction should be not large and small. It should be set aside versus full and open. Okay? And I hope you can see that because I can't see on the screen. Let me write it up here. Again, so it's set aside versus full and open. That doesn't mean large businesses. I have contracts that are full and open competition. That doesn't mean, that has nothing to do with it being an actual large company that wins it. It just means that it wasn't set aside for a small business. By the way, regardless of your age or your color, you are likely a small business if you fall underneath the threshold. So I think that part of what I'm doing with all of my content is trying to reprogram everyone's mind out there, because instead of focusing on what they tell us is a 23% of the pie, which is more like 16% of the pie, of the whole pie, because the 23% is of the partial pie. So really what you're looking at is 23% of a partial pie, okay, which is more like 16% of the whole pie. And we're also focused on the crumbs, that we're looking right past all of the massive amount of opportunities out there that are available to us. So, you know, what I want to say is to change our thinking, to change our mindset from the fact that all that we're capable of doing is working on small business projects or small business set aside contracts. There are, I fulfill contracts of all types and all sizes. And again, a lot of people out there, and this is to your credit, a lot of people out there are already doing really difficult jobs and working with large companies and working with people that are experienced. But when they look at themselves, they put themselves down like you should be in a box, like you should only be in the small business box. When the actuality of it, the reality is that you are already capable and you are competent enough to be able to do some full and open competition work. Because a lot of times the full and open competition work, there isn't a whole lot of bidders. I mean, I bid projects that where no one bid. Like no one even showed up. So the fact that you're excluding yourself from a whole pool of opportunity, that's on you. That's your bad. Because a lot of times on the full and open competition, if you look at the largest contracts that are awarded, if you look at the largest contracts, the largest agencies that are spending money, you can pull down the statistics and you can see they have a goal. Their goal is to do 50% competition. That's their goal. So if you're looking at 84% of these contracts, right? And I'm going to write another color. And out of the 84%, 54% of them, right, is competition. That means the balance, 46%, has no competition. So why would you not want to play in that pool? Why would you not want to look at, how do I get myself in the pool where there's 54% of the contracts are competed, 46% of the contracts, there's no competition at the full and open level. Even though it's considered full and open, it's really not. It's really not full and open because only 46% of 54% of the jobs are actually being competed. And then what are we all doing? We go straight to looking at our goals. And then if you go deeper in and you look at woman-owned, we say, oh, I just want those contracts that's 5%, or I want veteran owned, right? Or whatever that is, 5 or 3%, whatever the number is. You know, we start looking at those things and we immediately exclude ourselves from the full pie. I don't know about you, but in a real world sense, if you were going to a table, or if you're going to a party, if you're going to any type of event and you went to look at where do you want to eat at, I'm pretty sure you don't want to eat the crumbs in real life. You want to eat from the big piece. You want to take from this section and be able to cut out your own sliver from outside of here. Just kind of my thinking, you know. But again, it's something that people constantly come to me with, and they bombard me with these same kind of questions, and they're not, to me, they're not even thinking through the entire process and the entire landscape of the federal arena. And I do get it. It is a black box. It can be very difficult to navigate. But at the same time, if you're going to be spending your effort, your dollars, and your time doing these activities, why not concentrate on where your dollars are going to be best maximized and used? Is it possible? Absolutely possible. We have people that are engaging in joint ventures and mental protege agreements with large firms to pull down some of this 67% of the contracts, to pull some of this stuff down and make it a small business. Because with using the rule of two, right, if there's two of us out here, we can now pull some of this stuff down and not even have to worry about this. Because if we pull this into this pie, there's no one else in this pie that has the ability to be able to do it. So you will be one of the people of the 46% where there's no really competition on your bid. Hey, look, I hope that this helps some people out there. I think this was a pretty good video. So again, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. I want to hear from you, everybody out there. Thanks so much for watching as always. Eric Coffie, Govcon Giants.